As they led him away, they seized a man, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming from the country. They laid the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A great number of the people followed him, and among them were women who were beating their breasts and wailing for him. But Jesus turned to them and said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For the days are surely coming when they will say, 'Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will begin to say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if they do this when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry?" 2 others also, who were criminals, were led away to be put to death with him. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothing. As I said, we've been following Jesus in the way, on the way, and this is the end of the way. This is the destination. And still Jesus is meeting people, still is having these memorable encounters and memorable words with some of them. Even the soldiers banging the nails to hold his body to the wood of the cross. And Jesus says, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." Astounding forgiveness. And then these 2 thieves crucified either side of him, one of whom turns to Jesus during that time of crucifixion. He learns faith, and Jesus promises him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Those are 2 of what I call the 7 words from the cross. 7 sentences that Jesus spoke, each of which are marvellous and are very well known, but they give forgiveness. Father, forgive them. Even the actual human individuals who were banging the nails, Jesus prays for their forgiveness. And that message of hope to the dying thief who had lived a bad life and didn't have opportunity to make amends. Yet Jesus extended to him the hope of resurrection and paradise. Astounding, these words of hope. But before that are these other words that never made it into the big 7, where Jesus says, especially to the women, "Weep not for me, but for yourselves." And before that, the last person who's named, the last person Jesus meets in the way, on the way, whose name is recorded in Scripture, is Simon of Cyrene. I'd like us to watch a minute and a half of the Passion play from last year in Trafalgar Square, where this was performed in view of Londoners.
Mate, come on. You're slowing down now. It's getting dark. I want to see you up there. Keep it moving, you...
Hurry up! You've got a death ticket!
Come on!
Come
It's
on.
getting close to nightfall.
Pick up your feet. You can carry that cross a bit further.
Come on.
Come on. Right.
Oh, no.
You know what's going to happen to us if he dies
Pick
before
up
we
the
can
cross.
crucify him? There has to be a crucifixion.
Come on, prisoner. Pick
Right,
the cross up.
Find somebody to help carry the cross.
Come on.
Soldiers, find somebody to help carry the cross. Come on, I want to see somebody. Right. You look fit enough. Get up.
Pick
Get
it
up.
up.
Move on.
Come on.
Come on. I don't care where you're from. If I say you carry the cross, you carry the cross. Now pick it up.
Don't you want to do my royal service?
So,
Come on, you can get over that hill. Come on, Jesus. You can do it. Get up. Get up. I'll make you crawl there if necessary. Come on.
come on, prisoner.
Right, get him out of here. Clear off, you. Job done.
Two of you take the cross away.
A man just dragged out of the crowd to come and carry that cross. Simon of Cyrene. As a friend of mine, actually, Reverend Chris Rogers, Vicar of All Hallows Bow, was chosen to do that, and he said what a great honour it was to remember that part played by Simon of Cyrene, and what a great honour for Simon. Many people remember and think it's dear to them that honour was given to a visitor from Africa. Cyrene is on the north coast of the African continent. But it probably wasn't seen as an honour at the time. I don't suppose Simon thought it was an honour. He'd come in ceremonially clean, ready to celebrate the Passover, the festival of unleavened bread. And now he's not clean. He's not able to observe the Passover. He's touched this filthy wooden cross, been pushed around by these Gentiles. He's got the blood on him. Jesus' blood was on that cross by that stage. Jesus was exhausted, having been whipped, flogged, forced to carry this, and couldn't take it all the way without help. For Simon, dragged out of the crowd like that, probably not knowing, having a clue who Jesus was. He just arrived, we read. It wasn't an honour to him, it was an imposition. It was a burden. It was a humiliation for him. He was shoved around by these Roman foreigners in the Jewish capital. Must have been very bruising bodily to carry the heavy weight of that cross that Jesus could no longer bear all the way to the point of death. Bruising to the mind and the spirit of Simon of Cyrene. But there he was, up close and personal to Jesus. We just have to guess at how much they would have looked in each other's eyes. This physical act of giving support to Jesus, helping him to get that cross to the place of execution. This brief contact, maybe it was just a minute as shown in that video, but deeply moving. We'd have to guess how much Simon of Cyrene perceived of Jesus, that this was no ordinary man, no common criminal being crucified that day. How much did he see this Jesus of Nazareth? Much more than any ordinary man. Even when exhausted, could Simon perceive? And how much briefly was there a bond between them? We're only guessing here. I'll come back to say more about Simon later on, but let's move on to the crowd. The crowd where Jesus speaks to these faithful followers, especially the women. Luke keeps emphasizing the women were faithful. The 12 disciples have scattered at this point, but the women were there, and he addresses them, daughters of Jerusalem. They are the last people in the way to the cross, who Jesus encounters before he's actually fixed to it. And these words, as I say, they're not in the big seven. They're overlooked words, unpopular words, hard words. He talks about such grief to come. The days are surely coming when they'll say, blessed are the barren. You say, ahead of you are times of such mourning and grieving. People will envy the women who never had children as they weep for their young ones taken away from them. Luke's gospel began with a childless woman, Elizabeth and Zechariah in their old age. They're promised a son, and Elizabeth rejoices that her barrenness, her shame is taken away. And yet Jesus says that would be a blessed condition when people realize just how much terror is coming. And the obvious application and meaning of Jesus' words is AD 66, the Roman Jewish war, the destruction of Jerusalem, which I spoke about on Sunday. Jesus himself wept for the city when he caught sight of it on his way into the city. So perhaps today I don't need to say much more about that. The words speak for themselves in terms of terrible grief ahead. But I think these words are not only for that generation, they also point ahead to trouble for Jesus' followers in this age that we're living in, from Jesus' coming until his return in this church age. Verse 31, if they do this when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry? When the wood is green, when the wood's just been chopped down, basically Jesus is saying they are making this up as they go along. When the wood is dry, when things are planned, when things are intentional, when they're doing what they mean and what they meant and they've designed to do, they will mean to destroy my people, if that were possible. But as Gamaliel points out in the book of Acts, they find themselves fighting God. This is a letter I've had just this week from Mission India. What I'm about to share is distressing. It reveals the harsh reality many believers face today. Sukra and his son were walking home after leading a prayer meeting. A mob of 40 armed men surrounded them and attacked. Sukra was violently beaten with weapons, sustaining repeated blows that left him with a near-fatal head wound. Thankfully, he survived the attack. He was discharged from hospital, but it's taking time to recover from injuries. Sukra's son, who witnessed the entire attack, was deeply traumatized. He's living in constant fear the mob will return to attack more believers in their village. The same fear grips the entire community. New Christians are shaken. Their faith is being severely tested by this brutal reality of persecution. This is the cost of following Jesus in India and in many other places around the world, as we know. What will happen when the wood is dry? This is the Great Tribulation. The book of Revelation talks about an age, a time of suffering for those who are followers of Jesus. Some people read this as some future anomalous time, something that stands out from the rest of history. I think it makes much more sense to understand the Great Tribulation as yet another description of this church age, these 2,000 years plus until Jesus returns. We are going through the Great Tribulation. Our brothers and sisters in northern Nigeria, in India, can't they tell us that this is surely the Great Tribulation? Isn't it as bad as Jesus described there? And Jesus is saying, weep for yourselves. He might say, lament. The Bible has this term, lament. A lament is weeping with an acknowledgement of pain. We're saying to God, this really hurts. A lament is an acknowledgement of pain that, yes, connects me to reality, but it also reshapes. If I can't reshape my reality, at least I can reshape my understanding of reality. We have a song, and some of you love it. My name is Victory. And in the age to come, my name is Victory. And that song looks ahead. In this age, not everything appears to be victorious. Jesus said at the Last Supper, John 15:20, that no student is greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. Jesus said, what will happen when the wood is dry? When they're not making it up as they go along, when it's designed and intentional. In this world, he said, you will have trouble. And I'm extending that not only to the troubles of persecution, but the other pains and difficulties that come along. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Because trouble and pain will grab us off the street, like trouble and pain grabbed Simon of Cyrene. There he was, he had plans. He was coming to celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, and he was pressed into service, dragged out of the crowd. Trouble comes. None of us plans for it. We have sudden illnesses sometimes, don't we? Brother, did you plan for what happened to you? We thank God for bringing you through. We thank God you are still here. but it seized you out of nowhere. None of us chooses the trouble that we have. Caring for parents. We don't choose that our mothers should suffer dementia or have other troubles. But suddenly the responsibility of being a carer is thrust upon us. There's no other alternative, is there? We have to do it. Jesus is saying, weep. Not for me, weep for yourselves. He's saying, be prepared. But this Jesus is still with us. He's still with us in the way, on the way. Things happen to us, and like Simon of Cyrene, it'll make no sense to us at the time. We will resent and be horrified by it. But whatever your pain, whatever God has ordained in your life, it will be different from your neighbours and mine, but whatever your pain, bear it for Jesus' sake. I was struck by some words in a BBC radio programme, Kimberly Wilson talking about resilience. She said, a client said to me, I would never have chosen this. It's been awful, but I'm really grateful. It's taught me so much about myself and given me a much more connected relationship with the world. I can share the link to that if anyone would listen to the programme. This woman learned resilience from trouble, intense illness, I think, in her case, that she'd been through. Resilience. But it's not only to connect us to ourselves and to the world, it connects us to Jesus who has gone this way ahead of us, and Jesus who still walks with us today. I'm trying to put together a whole understanding of these various things that Jesus has said. He has died to win us forgiveness. That forgiveness that he spoke, that he offered, gave to those soldiers nailing him to the cross. That forgiveness he was winning at the cross. The hope of paradise today that he spoke to the thief. Jesus has died to win that forgiveness and that hope for us. And while we are on the way, while we are still on our way to that paradise, that resurrection, on the way, he does give us peace. He wept over Jerusalem. He said, you did not recognize God's coming to you. If only you had known what would bring you peace. We have learned what brings us peace. We have peace in the midst of trouble. We even have joy and weeping at the same time. This is the wonderful, astounding reality of Christian discipleship. Weeping does not exclude joy and hope. In this age, we follow Jesus. Just to say we follow Jesus, look where he went. As followers of Jesus, we follow Jesus on a way that includes suffering. And because of that, what I want you to do today is take heart. Take heart, I've overcome the world. Take courage. Take hold of courage. Yes, Peter's courage failed him that day, but Peter learned courage by it. Let us learn from Peter. Jesus has gone this way first. Yes, there will be suffering ahead. Jesus has gone this way first, and he has completed the journey. And he has entered victory. He has triumphed. He has won. And he holds the door open to us. Jesus is with us as we take his way now. So take courage. Jesus has gone this way first. Take courage. Jesus is with us as we take this way. And take courage. There is resurrection ahead. Let's sing again. When I survey the wondrous cross.